So for our last exercise, I'm going to show you how to light a bottle filled with liquid. So let's say it's a soda bottle. There are a couple of things you need to keep in mind when modeling something like this. Is that you have to make the top of the liquid concave like this. It can't be flat if you want it to look realistic. And you also want to make sure that the liquid is slightly offset from the glass itself. A good thing to use for that is the push modifier. We can control exactly how much to offset it from the glass. Right? So if you keep that in mind, the model should be good. And I have a simple camera and a simple bottle, and let's try to render this scene. So first things first, let's add a VRay plane light. I want to make it quite long, so the reflections cover the whole bottle. And rotate it like this, sideways. Okay, let's try the active shade. And as you can see, the bottle looks black. The liquid inside especially. So this is one of the cases when you want to use the CUDA mode or the GPU mode of VRay RT for your previews. As you can see, as I switched to CUDA, I can see some nice refractions inside. That's because the CPU mode doesn't calculate the fog color correctly. Right, so one of the nice things about rendering bottles filled with some liquids is that once you add a reflection on one side, it automatically refracts on the other side, giving you a nice colored highlight along that edge. So that's a really nice thing and pretty useful. Okay, so what I want to do next is I want to add a gradient to my light. Since the CUDA mode is too slow for recording, I'm going to switch back to CPU mode. And control my light this way. So let's just create a new gradient ramp. And assign it to our light as a texture. Drag and drop an instance. And look how nice and soft the transition became. Okay, that looks fine, I think. And maybe let's make the light wider. Right, like that. I think it looks good. Let's try a quick production render. It's not exactly what I'm looking for. I want the highlight to be a bit stronger on both sides. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my light and move it forwards a bit, as well as change my gradient. Okay, so this should make the effect more like what I'm looking for. Let's try to render. Okay, that's a bit better, but now we need to bump up the strength of our light. Let's try it at 100 and see how it looks. So that looks pretty nice, I think. And what I want to add next is a little highlight on the right side of this bottle. So to do that, I'm gonna copy my light. Actually, I'm gonna mirror it, make a copy, and move to the right. I want this highlight a bit thinner. And only on the edge. Like this. And that looks nice. Check the production. Okay, that's fine, and maybe let's make it slightly weaker and more yellow. And make the other light stronger. I think that looks nice. Now maybe let's try to add another light just below our bottle. I'm gonna move it down a bit to get this nice highlight on the bottom side. Okay, that's nice. Now let's create a gradient for it. I'm gonna use a box gradient. Okay, so that's nice and smooth. And let's make it a bit weaker. And copy up. Just to get a highlight on the top as well. Okay, looking good. Let's try production render. Maybe let's add one more light. Let's add one more light over here. Okay, and for this light I'm gonna use a different gradient. I'm gonna make the center lighter and the sides darker. Right. I think that's gonna be good. Okay, so that's the bottle on a black background, but sometimes it looks quite good when you have something bright just behind the bottle to light up the liquid inside. Let's save this as bottle on black. And let's make an alternate version. With a lighter background. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a plane just behind the bottle. Alright. Let's make the plane gray. And let's add some sort of a highlight right behind the bottle. I'm going to create a VRay light, long and thin. Move it next to the plane and adjust the brightness. Until I get a nice soft glow around the bottle. Okay. Let's make the background a bit more even by excluding it from some of the lights. So this one, all the lights that are lighting the bottle, and this one. Okay, that's good. And finally, the last light. Okay. And let's try production render and see how it looks. Right, we need to make this light invisible, otherwise it shows up as a black spot in our bottle. So now we have this nice glow behind the bottle, and as a result of that, the liquid itself looks very bright and shiny. So that's a nice way to bring out the beauty in these bottles filled with some liquids. Okay, just a couple of adjustments. First of all, I'm gonna make sure the light behind the bottle is white. And then I'm gonna make the background a bit brighter. And move the light slightly away from it. Okay, like that. Looks good. And that's your bottle on a highlight.